gunshot echoed across the abandoned shipyard. Darius Brooks threw himself behind a stack of rusted cargo containers as bullets slammed into the steel inches above his head. His breathing came in short bursts. He had no weapon, no backup, and nowhere left to run if stories filled with impossible choices, shocking betrayals, and emotional twists are your kind of entertainment. Take 1 second to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and let us know in the comments where you're watching from. You won't believe what this Korean Mafia boss is forced to choose today. Boots pounded against the concrete. Search every corner. One man shouted in Korean, "The chairman wants him alive." Darius glanced toward the chain-link fence. It was too high to climb before they reached him. Another gunshot exploded. A bullet grazed his shoulder. He bit back a cry and staggered his feet, sprinting toward a warehouse. The massive doors suddenly rolled open. More than 20 black SUVs pulled inside. Every gunman froze. The air grew deathly silent. A tall man stepped out of the lead vehicle, dressed in a tailored black suit. His expression was unreadable, but every soldier lowered his head the moment he appeared. Jehun Baek, the most feared mafia boss in South Korea. Darius's heart sank. "So this is how it ends," he muttered. An older man emerged from another SUV. His silver hair and commanding presence made everyone straighten instantly. Chairman Baek Dong-suk. He looked at Darius as though he were already dead. Then he turned to Jehun. "Kill him." Not a single person breathed. Chairman Baek's voice remained calm. "He's your wife's brother." The words hung in the air like smoke. "But he knows too much." Jehun stared at Darius without blinking. Darius slowly raised his hands. "If killing me protects my sister," he said quietly, "then do it." Jehun reached inside his jacket. Every gunman smiled. The execution was about to begin. 3 days earlier, Ariana Brooks smiled as she rushed through the arrivals terminal at Incheon International Airport. "There he is." She waved both hands excitedly. Darius laughed as he pushed his suitcase toward her. "There you are, little sister." The two embraced tightly. "I've missed you. I've missed you more." She pulled away, pretending to be annoyed. "You've ignored half my calls." "I was working." "You always say that." He grinned. "And you're still bossy." She laughed for the first time in weeks. "You have no idea how happy I am you're finally here." Outside the terminal, a convoy of luxury SUVs waited. Darius stopped walking. "You've got to be kidding." Ariana sighed. "I told him not to send everyone." "Everyone?" "The security team." "You mean your husband's private army?" "They're just protecting us." "They're making it look like the president is visiting." The rear door of the first SUV opened. Jehun stepped out. His face remained calm, but his eyes softened the moment they met Ariana's. "You're late," she teased. "There was traffic." Darius smirked. "Traffic stopped the mafia boss?" Jehun looked at him. "Good to see you again." "You sure about that?" Ariana sighed. "Please." The tension was immediate. Jehun extended his hand. "I'm glad you accepted our invitation." Darius shook it. "Barely." The handshake lasted only a second. Neither man smiled. Inside the SUV, silence filled the cabin. Ariana tried to lighten the mood. "So, dinner tonight?" "I made reservations." Darius looked out the window. "You mean someone else made reservations?" Jehun answered without offense. "Yes." "You don't do anything yourself?" "I do what matters. And people obey." "They usually do." Darius chuckled. "Sounds lonely." Ariana quickly changed the subject. "Tell us about Chicago." For the next 20 minutes, she kept the conversation alive, while the two men exchanged only occasional glances. When they reached the Beck estate, dozens of staff members lined the entrance. Darius frowned. "They're waiting for us." "They're welcoming family," Ariana replied. Inside, dinner had already been prepared. Everything looked perfect. Too perfect. As everyone sat down, Chairman Beck entered the dining room unexpectedly. Ariana stood respectfully. "Good evening." The chairman nodded. Then his eyes settled on Darius. "So, the American brother." Darius smiled politely. "The Korean legend." Ariana immediately sensed trouble. Chairman Beck sat. I hear you investigate powerful people. I used to. I retired. Chairman Beck smiled faintly. Interesting. Jehun quietly watched the exchange. Dinner continued. The conversation remained polite until Darius noticed something. Every servant avoided eye contact with Chairman Beck. Every guard stood unusually tense. Even Jehun spoke carefully around him. Something wasn't right. Later that night, unable to sleep, Darius wandered into the estate gardens. He heard voices beyond the hedge. He instinctively stopped. The shipment arrives tomorrow. The council cannot know. If Jehun discovers this, he won't. Darius slowly peeked through the leaves. 3 men stood beside a black sedan. One of them handed another a thick envelope. Money. A lot of it. The third man passed over a flash drive. Darius quietly reached for his phone. Click. The camera captured the exchange. One more picture. Click. A twig snapped beneath his shoe. Every head turned. Who's there? Darius ran. Catch him. The men sprinted after him. He jumped over a stone bench and raced across the garden. Footsteps closed in behind him. A flashlight beam swept across the lawn. There! Darius reached the mansion and slammed the back door shut behind him. His heart pounded. He quickly hid behind a wall as the men searched outside. Minutes later, everything became quiet. He looked at the photos. The faces were clear. One man wore a ring with the Beck Syndicate emblem. Another carried a tattoo unlike any he'd seen before. The third, Darius frowned. He had seen that face during dinner. One of Jehun's senior executives. What are you involved in? He whispered. The next morning, Jehun entered his office to find Director Min waiting. You've been busy, Jehun said. Director Min smiled. Always. Then another executive hurried inside. We have a problem. Jehun looked up. What happened? Someone photographed last night's meeting. Director Min's expression changed for only a fraction of a second. Who? We're still investigating. Jehun's voice became cold. Find out. The executive hesitated. We already did. He placed a photograph on the desk. Jehun stared at it. It showed Darius running through gardens. Silence filled the room. Director Min slowly folded his hands. I warned everyone, he said softly. Outsiders cannot be trusted. Jehun didn't answer. He simply looked at the picture again. He knew Darius had a habit of chasing the truth, but something felt wrong. Too convenient. Too easy. Before he could speak, another guard rushed inside, his face pale. Boss! What is it? The chairman has called an emergency council meeting. Jehun stood, and the guard swallowed hard. He says the American has become a threat to the syndicate. Across the hallway, Ariana laughed at her brother, completely unaware that, behind the closed council doors, men were already deciding whether Darius Brooks deserved to live or die. Jehun entered the council chamber without a word. 12 of the Beck Syndicate's highest-ranking leaders sat around the long table. Chairman Beck remained at the head, his hands resting on a polished cane. No one spoke until Jehun took his seat. The chairman broke the silence. Bring him in. The doors opened. One of the guards stepped inside, carrying a folder. He placed it before the chairman. Chairman Beck slid several photographs across the table. Every leader leaned forward. There is your evidence. The pictures showed Darius hiding in the garden, photographing the secret meeting, and running from the scene. One elder frowned. Who gave him access? No one, another replied. He wandered where he shouldn't have. Chairman Beck looked directly at Jehun. Your wife's brother has seen faces, money, and a confidential exchange. Jehun's voice remained calm. He may have witnessed something without understanding it. Director Min laughed softly. That sounds like hope, not certainty. Jehun turned toward him. What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting we follow our rules. Another elder nodded. No witness survives. Chairman Beck leaned forward. The organization has survived for 50 years because sentiment has never outweighed discipline. Jehun didn't blink. Has anyone questioned him? Director Min answered before anyone else could. A guilty man lies. An innocent man deserves to speak. The room became quiet. Director Min smiled. You've changed since your marriage. Jehun's eyes narrowed. No, I've learned that careless decisions create unnecessary enemies. Chairman Beck struck the floor once with his cane. Enough. He looked around the table. Find the American. Bring him to me. Alive. Meanwhile, Ariana and Darius wandered through a traditional market in central Seoul. For the first time since arriving, Darius looked relaxed. I forgot what normal people look like, he joked. Ariana laughed. You're impossible. I'm serious. Your husband has soldiers watching us from every corner. They're bodyguards. They're bodyguards pretending not to be bodyguards. She smiled. They're very bad at pretending. They stopped at a food stall. The elderly vendor bowed nervously after recognizing Ariana. No, please, Ariana said warmly. You don't have to bow. The woman smiled with relief. Darius watched quietly. People respect you. They're afraid of my last name. Before Darius could answer, his phone vibrated. Unknown number. He answered cautiously. Hello. A distorted voice whispered. They're coming. His expression changed. Who is this? You took photographs. Delete them, or you'll be dead before sunset. The call ended. Ariana noticed his face. What happened? He forced a smile. Wrong number. She wasn't convinced. Darius. I'm fine. From across the street, a black sedan slowly pulled away. Inside, Director Min lowered the burner phone. They're still walking. One of his men asked, Should we eliminate him now? Director Min shook his head. No. The chairman must believe justice was served. We'll let Jehun carry the blame. Back at the estate, Jehun returned to his office. His most trusted bodyguard, Hyunwoo, closed the door behind him. You don't believe the photographs. Jehun looked out the window. No. Why? They prove only that Darius saw something. Not what he saw. Hyunwoo nodded. I've already begun asking questions. What did you find? The 3 men in the garden. One has disappeared. Jehun slowly turned around. When? This morning. Without permission. Jehun's expression hardened. Find him. We're trying. No. Jehun's voice became ice cold. Find him. Across town, Darius sat alone in Ariana's favorite cafe while she stepped away to answer a call from a client. He unlocked his phone again. The photographs were still there. He zoomed in. 1 face. 2 faces. Then he stopped. What? In the reflection of the sedan's window stood another man, almost hidden. Darius increased the brightness. His eyes widened. I know you. He had seen that man shaking Chairman Beck's hand during dinner. But the tattoo on the reflection wasn't from the Beck Syndicate. It belonged to another organization, a rival syndicate. His heartbeat quickened. This wasn't a payment. It was a betrayal. Someone sat across from him. Darius instinctively reached for his phone. The stranger raised both hands. I'm not your enemy. Who are you? My name doesn't matter. Then leave. The man leaned closer. If you value your sister's life, you'll listen. Darius stared at him. You accidentally uncovered a coup. What? Someone inside the Beck Syndicate is selling information. I don't care. You should. Because everyone believes you're the spy. Darius frowned. Who are you working for? No one anymore. The stranger slid a small memory card across the table. What's this? Insurance. Before Darius could ask another question, 2 motorcycles stopped outside. The stranger looked through the window. They found us. He stood immediately. Run. Gunfire shattered the cafe windows. Customers screamed. Tables overturned. Darius grabbed the memory card and dug behind the counter. Another burst of bullets ripped through the walls. Outside, masked gunmen advanced. Don't let him escape. Darius crawled toward the kitchen. The cook pointed to the back door. Go. He burst into the alley just as another volley destroyed the rear entrance. Tires screeched. A black SUV drifted into the alley. The rear door swung open. Hyunwoo shouted, Get in. Darius hesitated. Now! Bullets struck the pavement around him. He jumped inside. The SUV sped away. Hyun-woo checked his shoulder. You're bleeding. I'm fine. No. Hyun-woo looked straight ahead. They're trying very hard to kill you. Darius stared at him. I thought your boss wanted me alive. So did I. Ji-hoon was halfway through another meeting when Hyun-woo called. I have him. Ji-hoon stood immediately. Is he safe? For now. What happened? Someone tried to assassinate him. Every executive in the room watched Ji-hoon's face. His jaw tightened. Who? They weren't ours. Ji-hoon slowly looked toward Director Min, who sat quietly at the far end of the table. Director Min looked genuinely surprised. Or perhaps he was simply pretending. Ji-hoon ended the call. The meeting is over. Chairman Beck frowned. We're not finished. I am. He walked out before anyone could stop him. Director Min watched him leave. One of his loyal captains leaned closer. Boss! He's starting to suspect. Director Min smiled. I know. What if he protects the American? He won't. And if he does? Director Min's smile disappeared. Then we'll make sure he has something even more painful to lose. That evening, Ji-hoon entered the safe house where Hyun-woo had hidden Darius. The room fell silent. The two men stared at each other for several seconds. Finally, Darius spoke. I knew one day we'd have an honest conversation. Ji-hoon pulled out a chair. You took photographs. Yes. What did you see? I don't know. Ji-hoon frowned. Don't lie to me. I'm not. Darius removed the memory card from his pocket and placed it on the table. I think whatever's on this is what everyone is willing to kill for. Before Ji-hoon could reach for it, every light in the safe house suddenly went out. Darkness swallowed the room. Then came the first explosion. The walls shook violently. Hyun-woo's voice thundered from outside. Boss! They've found us. The blast blew the front gate off its hinges. Smoke rolled through the safe house as alarms screamed. Hyun-woo fired through a shattered window. They're everywhere. Ji-hoon grabbed Darius by the arm. Stay behind me. I'm not hiding. You have no weapon. Then give me one. Ji-hoon pulled a pistol from his waistband and handed it over without hesitation. Can you shoot? Darius checked the magazine. I grew up in Texas. Ji-hoon gave the slightest nod. I'll take that as a yes. Another explosion rocked the building. Bullets ripped through the walls. Hyun-woo shouted, Rear entrance! Move! The three men sprinted down the hallway. Outside, black-clad gunmen poured into the courtyard. One of them yelled, Chairman Beck wants the American alive. Another shouted back. Director Min said kill everyone. Ji-hoon stopped. His eyes turned cold. What did he just say? Darius heard it too. They're following two different orders. Ji-hoon looked at Hyun-woo. Alive. That's my uncle's command. Kill everyone. That's Min's. Hyun-woo understood instantly. The traitor. Ji-hoon nodded. The coup was already begun. More gunfire erupted. Ji-hoon returned fire, dropping two attackers. Darius covered the opposite side, forcing several more behind their vehicles. Hyun-woo threw a smoke grenade. Go! The three escaped through the rear alley and disappeared into the night. An hour later, they reached an abandoned warehouse owned by one of Ji-hoon's oldest allies. Hyun-woo locked every entrance. Ji-hoon finally inserted the memory card into a laptop. The screen flickered. A video began to play. The room fell silent. Director Min appeared on screen, shaking hands with the leader of the Hasegawa syndicate from Japan. A voice said, Once Chairman Beck is dead, Ji-hoon will be blamed. Director Min smiled. And the American? We'll frame him as a foreign spy. What about Ji-hoon's wife? Director Min answered without hesitation. If she gets in the way, she dies too. Darius slowly looked at Ji-hoon. He wasn't after me. He was after your entire family. Ji-hoon closed the laptop. His voice became frighteningly calm. We're ending this tonight. At that very moment, Ariana walked nervously into the Beck estate. She found Chairman Beck standing alone. Where's Ji-hoon? The chairman didn't answer. Where's my brother? Still nothing. She stepped closer. Please. What is happening? Chairman Beck finally sighed. I ordered your brother captured. Her face lost all color. You what? He witnessed confidential business. He isn't your enemy. Perhaps. But someone inside this family is. Ariana stared at him. You think Darius is a traitor? I think someone wants me to believe he is. She blinked. What? Chairman Beck slowly stood. I've led this syndicate for decades. I know when evidence arrives too perfectly. Someone is manipulating us. Before Ariana could respond, the mansion lights suddenly went dark. Gunfire exploded outside. A guard burst into the room. Chairman, we're under attack. Black SUVs crashed through the estate gates. Masked gunmen stormed the courtyard. Director Min stepped out of the lead vehicle. It's time, he said. His soldiers opened fire. Chaos erupted across the compound. Chairman Beck looked at Ariana. Stay behind me. She shook her head. My husband is out there. So is your brother. I won't hide. She ran before he could stop her. Minutes later, Jehun's convoy reached the estate. The front gates were burning. Bodies lay across the driveway. Hyunwoo looked at Jehun. We're late. No. Jehun chambered around. We're right on time. The vehicles stopped. Jehun stepped out first. His appearance alone caused several gunmen to hesitate. One whispered, the boss. Jehun's voice echoed through the courtyard. Min. Director Min emerged onto the mansion steps. I was wondering when you'd arrive. You betrayed us. I saved myself. You murdered your own men. They were loyal to you. Jehun slowly raised his pistol. You mistaken loyalty for weakness. Director Min laughed. You still think this ends with a gunfight. He snapped his fingers. 2 soldiers dragged Ariana onto the steps. Her hands were tied. A pistol was pressed against her head. Darius jumped from the SUV. Ariana. She looked toward him. Darius, don't. Director Min smiled. Perfect. The whole family is here. Jehun's jaw tightened. What do you want? The memory card. Jehun held it up. You'll never leave alive. Maybe. Director Min shrugged. But neither will your wife. The courtyard became silent. Every weapon remained aimed. Every heartbeat felt louder. Darius suddenly took one step forward. Let her go. Director Min laughed. You think your life is worth hers? Yes. Ariana shouted through tears. No. Darius ignored her. I'm the one you wanted. Take me. Leave my sister out of this. Director Min pretended to think. Tempting. He reached toward Ariana, then smiled. I've changed my mind. He pulled the trigger. Click. Nothing happened. Director Min froze. His guard looked confused. Jehun's voice cut through the silence. I replaced every round in your weapons an hour ago. Director Min's eyes widened. What? Hyunwoo grinned. While your men were busy chasing ghosts. The next second, Jehun fired. Director Min collapsed onto the steps. His remaining soldiers panicked. Chairman Beck's guards charged from inside the mansion. The traitors surrendered within moments. Silence finally returned. Ariana broke free and ran straight to Darius, wrapping both arms around him. I thought I'd lost you. I'm still here. She cried harder. Then she turned to Jehun. Without saying a word, she embraced him too. For the first time since their marriage, Jehun hugged her back in front of everyone. Chairman Beck slowly approached. His eyes rested on Darius. I judge you unfairly. Darius smiled weakly. I judge your family too. The chairman nodded. Perhaps we both had reasons. Then he looked at Jehun. I ordered you to choose between your syndicate and your family. Jehun shook his head. I refuse a question. You disobeyed me. I protected innocent people. The chairman remained silent for several seconds. Finally, he bowed his head. Every syndicate member watching followed his example, not because Jehun was the strongest man in the courtyard, but because he had proven that true leadership required courage, wisdom, and compassion, not blind obedience. Several days later, Darius prepared to return to the United States. At the airport, He faced Jehun one last time. I owe you an apology. Jehun looked at him. I spent years believing my sister had married a monster. Darius smiled. I was wrong. Jehun extended his hand. I'll take care of her. I know. Darius shook his hand firmly. If anyone ever orders you to choose between family and power again. Jehun looked toward Ariana, who smiled through happy tears. I already know my answer. As Darius disappeared through security, Ariana slipped her hand into Jehun's. Thank you. He smiled softly. You never had to thank me. You were my family from the day we married. She leaned against him as they walked away together, stronger than ever after surviving the greatest test of their lives. If you enjoyed the story and stayed with us until the very end, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who loves emotional mafia dramas. Most importantly, tell us in the comments, if you were Jehun, would you have obeyed the chairman's order or risked everything to save your wife's brother? We'd love to read your thoughts, and your comment might inspire our next unforgettable story.